Hey, everybody, all you Move, Think, Smile followers, and everybody in one of our many groups that we have out there. This is Adam Von Enz and Elia Fasharan coming at you from Move, Think, Smile. And we've been kind of absent for a little while, but we've been doing some really great things and revamping and reopening and redoing and revising and redoing. It's just like, that's what happens when things like pandemics hit, right? You got to get out there and
Yep.
you got to become innovative. You got to do some new things. And today, we really want to tap into our group that is all about work-life balance. Oh my. And Move Think Smile got started as a way to really help people integrate more energy, more health, more freedom into a successful career. And what we're noticing now is that even though people are working more at home, that their work-life balance is even more off than it was before the whole COVID thing hit in the first place. So we recently posted a question, or rather, Elia recently posted a question in our work-life balance Oh My group. Does your company truly encourage work-life balance? And she got some really amazing responses about it. And we just wanted to take a few minutes and discuss it with you guys and kind of what we're seeing out there and maybe give you some stuff. The holidays are coming up. It's all work. It's all life. It's no balance. It's what's going to happen here. And, I'll let her kind of chime in on this and tell the whole story. But, we're really true believers of work-life integration, and that trying to tip the scale one way or the other for work or life just becomes this big mess a lot of times. And it's really hard to achieve those type of goals. And we're seeing a lot of companies try to adopt this whole work-life balance programs or ethics or methodology, or I'm not sure what you're really going to call it. Some of them are doing okay, but most of them I think, are falling a little flat. And on that note, Elia, so what kind of responses did you get back to that when you asked the question, does your company truly encourage work-life balance?
Yeah, so we had some really great ones, and I sort of picked out three that I felt like were really a common theme. And the first one is really, this feeling of a catch 22, where it's like we have this company wide protocol, we have an HR, kind of program in place for work life balance, but nobody actually does it because the culture doesn't reward it. The culture rewards working more. And so, this is really tough because, you're in this company and they're saying one thing, but they're expecting you to do another. And this is a really tough spot to be. And this happens with business owners as well. Even though we have more quote unquote control over our time, and we talk about work life balance and we talk about being business owners so that we can have more freedom with our time, we don't do it.
We
Right?
don't
We
know.
don't do it. Work always sneaks up. And so we're caught in a catch 22 as well. And so I think what's really, really important is it requires first really, calling out that catch 22. Company culture exists because everybody feeds into the culture. And it takes a real leader to kind of break out and start, making those small little tweaks that are going to shift the culture.
Yeah,
Does
and
that
one
make
thing,
sense?
yeah, I was gonna say one thing, guys. Like when you're watching this, answer the question for us. Just pop down in the comments below. Does your company truly encourage a work-life balance? Does it have some type of system, rules, methods, programs, support, anything, even a pamphlet that they're handing out talking about how to have more work-life balance, basically how to have a better life while keeping your productivity high? Let us know, do they have it or don't they have it? And if they do have it, is it working? Do you like it? Is it not working? What could be better about it? Because that's what we really want to dive into. And when Elliot was talking about, work-life balance, it's like companies are recognizing it, but it's
Yeah.
interesting that when you start getting a corporation or a group of people together, all of a sudden you kind of lose the human element to it. And then they start treating everybody like a battery, right? And so what companies don't really realize is that the human body needs to be recharged. Like we can go for a long time. Like we can
Yep.
power through, typically a couple weeks, even a month, maybe two. But then if you're not recharging those batteries, the productivity you're getting out of that person is going to start dropping. And the weird thing is they might be productive, but if you think about like, this is an old alkaline battery and it just kind of slowly fades. If you hold up to a light bulb and at the end it starts to get dim, 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 and it's going bad. Well, today's
Mhm.
new batteries, those lithium ion batteries, they don't let you know they're going to die. They just
Yeah.
stop. They just go away. And this is what we're seeing time and time again when they've got great careers out there, they're being successful, but they're just not getting that balance part for the life side of the equation. And they're stopping. They're just leaving.
Yeah.
They're some are burning out. Some are just saying, screw this, I'm out of here. This is just not worth it. And some are even hanging on. And what ends up happening is it's hurting the company. It's hurting the person's health, which is impacting their everything else in their life. So Elliot, what else did you see coming in when you asked this question?
Yeah. So, well, one thing too, I want to add on to this conversation real quick, because I did have people asking, it's like, what are you supposed to do when you're caught in this catch 22? And I just wanted to sort of, that's a big question. And I can't answer it, all in one fell swoop. But I think something to give you is that to remind yourself that no amount of time is too small to take back for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the two things you could do when you're stuck in this catch 22 is, one, start speaking up and not buying into the culture of, we're going to talk about work-life balance, but not actually do it. And number two is start taking little bits of time back, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, whether that means cutting out early, coming in a little bit late, whatever it might mean, taking a little bit more time for lunch is really just, okay, let me just get a little bit of time. And your brain is going to tell you that 5 minutes isn't enough to do anything, but you got to start somewhere, and 5 minutes is enough to do a lot.
Yeah.
So I want to just kind of throw that in there as far as starting the conversation around that. The next thing that was really a theme that I saw is that people just feel like, their partners are being stolen away from them because of work, right? Your spouse, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it is, feels like, work has all of them and the best of them, and then you get the leftovers. And this is something that's really, really a struggle for people, because it creates a lot of that relationship tension. It creates resentment. And of course, people that are, the partner that's working all of the time, for those people, they feel afraid, especially right now with just this environment, that if they don't perform, if they don't, prove that they're the best, or they're, a key player in the company, that they're going to get laid off, right? Because everything is switching right now. Things are very uncertain. And so I think it's really important to kind of address, how do you not stay resentful of a partner who's working all the time? And how can you bring some compassion to someone that's working all the time and feels like they can't step away?
I would, I think just off the top of my mind, right, would say that, you cannot adapt to a situation that you cannot accept. And so, people have been talking about innovation, and they're talking about change, and there's, this part of the planet's talking about the pandemic in this way. No, it's not a real thing. Yes, it's a real thing. Is there global warming? Is there no global warming? The elections and everything else in between. And it's going to be like this. It's going to be turbulent. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of change going on. And if you expect things to just kind of stay the status quo the entire time, you're going to get blindsided. You're going to get T-boned, and it's going to knock you off the track. And you're going to be, your partner may be out there trying to do something, trying to adapt to the environment. And then the other person is having a hard time accepting that situation.
Yeah.
And so I would really encourage everybody to look at this as like innovation. Like, this is what you have to do right now. You've got to learn how to do things in different ways, and to be able to quickly to adapt to an ever-changing environment. And it's going to change again and again and again. Like, we won't know until January 20th who's actually going to be in the, White House, in the Oval Office. There's still a lot of stuff going out there. We got a pretty good idea. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of stuff can change between now and then. We have no idea. That's kind of like the chaos theory. We try to make it organized. We try to make hypothesis, but then something comes in and railroads everything. And next thing you know, you've got a hot mess instead of a dumpster fire, instead of a train wreck. And and things can get interesting really, really fast. So just remember that, you can only adapt to a situation if you can accept it. And it doesn't mean you have to like it. It doesn't have to mean you have to like it. You just have to realize what's going on, and you've got to say, okay, what is it I need to know right now? What is it I need to do right now in order to make this work, so my whole work-life balance thing isn't tilting all the way to one side, and my emotions aren't tilting all the way over here? Because what ends up happening is, you've heard of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, but it also kills him. Mm-hmm. Like, it literally does. It starts with the body being in a stressful state, even though it's not really being chased down by a tiger. Then it evokes all these genetic responses, and just pretty soon you're just, all kinds of things can happen. It's different for everybody. The most common, as we're seeing, is weight gain and diabetes and heart disease and hypertension and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah, because that, the level of stress that people have been under this year, as we say, stress is your genetic gun. It really, hits on those genetic hot buttons. And so if you're disposed, pre-positioned to get different diseases, man, this is the year when a lot of that has been happening.
Yeah.
People are really feeling it in their health
In
and
their
their
bodies.
well-being
Yeah.
and in their bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
basically, I think what Ellie, I think when you said genetics load the gun,
yep.
right? And stress pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
And stress pulls the trigger, and a lot of things can happen. So, what other insights did you get out of the comments?
Well, I think the one thing that I want to say about this question and this comment is, again, just kind of a top level suggestion for people, and that is, if you're in this situation and your significant other, your partner, your spouse, whatever it is working all the time and you're feeling resentful. The biggest thing you can do, there are kind of three things you can start with. The first one is really bringing compassion, right? Because they don't want to be working this much either, and they feel stuck and they feel afraid. So instead of believing that this is like something that they're doing to you, start with that compassion piece, which is that they're overworked, they're afraid, and they're stressed. And this makes for a really bad combo. And so, again, how can you bring some more compassion to the situation? The second thing is really stay in your own lane and focus on how you can better your health and better your mental space, because it's really the only thing you have control over. And if you try to, get the outside world to line up so you can feel good luck. It's going to be a long time before you feel good.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It's going to be it's going to be very long time.
Yeah. And the third thing is to really, this is an opportunity to just practice some forgiveness. And again, much easier said than done. There's a lot of different practices out there for this, but just, again, have that compassion and forgiveness, because we're all trying to figure this out. And people are working, they're bringing work home, they're working from remotely, from their homes. And so all of those lines are getting really blurred between personal and business. And people are trying, but they're messing up all along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
And then, yeah. And so the third thing that I wanted to tap on today, again, just because I thought it was really, really key, and that is this idea of defeat, people feeling defeated. And someone in the comments said, I feel like I'm struggling to fill my soul back up. And that, I'm too defeated to have a clear opinion on your use of the word defeated. And so, this is really speaks true to this kind of feeling that a lot of people are fighting off. And when it comes to work-life balance and feeling like they don't have any time to recharge their soul, recharge their battery, like Adam, you were saying, that feeling of defeat comes in and it's crushing, right? It's really crushing. So it's like, how do we get that back? And again, this kind of stems back to, you've got to take action on your own behalf, but you also have to stop buying into what we like to call the culture of burnout, or this, hypocrisy, this catch-22 of, yeah, we're going to talk about work-life balance, but none of us are actually going to practice it.
Right? Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We talk, I need more work-life balance. I need more work-life balance. I need more work-life balance. So that's the magic question. It's like, how are you going to get that? Mm-hmm. How are you going to get that? And then I think another question is, what's going to happen if you don't get that?
Yeah.
And I think we know the answer. Like, we're seeing it happen all across the country. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons of why we're having a health epidemic, why people are struggling with their health, why people are struggling with their families, why people are struggling to just have a good time in life. But a lot of it comes down to money and or relationships. And usually they're hand in hand. You go to work, you do this to provide for your family or to get success or to provide impact, or you have these goals. And next thing you know, it's become such an ingrained life that if you go on vacation, you go camping for the weekend, you can't relax because you don't know what to do, because you haven't had any time to yourself for so long that you've been running. And, we get it, working 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, having back-to-back meetings, missing time with people you love for having those meetings with people you don't. And, next thing you know, like Ellie is talking about, it's like, yeah, your soul's getting sucked away. Your soul's getting sucked away. And so is a lot of other things, with basically your body's performance. And I'm not talking about from a six-pack ab style. I'm just talking about from being able to just like get a good night's sleep, be energetic all day long, every day, getting up every day, being able to handle problems when they appear without the anxiety or the anger or the resentment. And we're just seeing it left and right all over the place. And this should really be a time of like, oh my gosh, I don't have to go through commute traffic anymore. I get to work from home more. But it's becoming more stressful because people are having a very challenging time being able to manage, I guess, maybe it's self-discipline. I don't know if it's self-discipline, because I know most of the people watching this are very successful, and I know they know how to do things, and I know they know how to keep it together, and I know they know how to do this. But there's something else going on in there. There's something else going on there. What do you think
Well,
that
and I
is?
like what you mentioned. I mean, that's another catch 22, right? That I actually really hadn't thought about this idea. When it comes to this question, that yeah, you're like, okay, I'm gonna fill up my soul. I'm gonna feel good. I'm gonna go camping. You get there, and yeah, you can't, mentally you can't relax. So I
Yeah.
think again, coming back to a few things that are helpful is just to remind yourself of those little things that will fill up your soul. Taking that time again, even if it's only 5 minutes to do that. Like I said, that kind of commitment to work and that drive is going to pop in and tell you that that's not enough time to do anything, but it really truly is. And so I think for a lot of people, it's really accepting and allowing themselves to take the baby steps and to
Mhm.
have kind of the small incremental wins versus feeling like if they can't get the big win, then they're not going to do anything at all.
Right.
And that's where again you get caught in a catch 22 because you're not willing to take the small steps, you only want the big win. And so, I think we came on here because we wanted to go in depth a little bit more on each of these three things, but we also really want to hear more from you guys about what you're seeing right now in the culture of work-life balance. Whether you're a business owner or whether you're working, within a company, we want to hear from you. What are some other struggles that you're seeing, and what's working and what's not working?
Yeah. So guys, go ahead, please comment below. Let us know. Number one, does your company even have or encourage work life? Like, I think most companies will encourage work-life balance, but do they have a system in place or something, even if it's, motivational poster on the wall that says work-life balance, go, go, go. Do they have anything, even more of a more systemized, regimented program or something in place? Do they encourage it, or do they actually make the employees go through it to make sure they are getting refueled, that these people are getting energized, they're recharging? So, because before you know it, like I said, that lithium ion battery, it just stops. And sometimes it's the mental that just stops, like I'm out of here. And sometimes the body just stops and it starts throwing up all these alarm systems like, okay, man, you have not been taking care of yourself. You've been putting your self-care in the back burner. It's showing all over the place. And I'm watching my friends left and right who are just unfortunately getting old very, very fast, who have yet to embrace what I would call work-life integration, or a lot of people like to call work-life balance, and really getting in and understanding what it takes to have a successful career with enough energy and freedom left over for, some fun family and personal time. I mean, it can happen. It's everybody's right to do that. You're out there providing. So guys, go ahead and comment below. Let us know. Do you have a corporate or a company work-life balance program? Do they encourage it? Tell us about it. Tell us if it works, if it doesn't work, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you wish was there, or what you wish wasn't there anymore. And just let us know how we can best support you guys.
Yeah.
On that, Elia, anything else?
That's it for today. We'll be back in here over the next couple weeks, just really supporting people as we move into the new year, and everyone's that's kind of on everyone's mind as well. It's like holidays, new year, all kinds of stuff happening. So we're going to be coming in here to support everybody. So post your questions, let us know what's helpful, what's not, and reach out. We're here.
All right, take care, everybody.